In this episode of BEA Conversations on Mental Fitness to Leadership, we are speaking with Oscar Cerezales, industry leader for the business events industry that needs no further introduction. Today we're talking a little bit about strategic thinking because he is known as a bit of a thinker and definitely a game changer for our industry, and everyone is keen to pick on his brains. Welcome to the conversation, Oscar.
Thank you, my friend.
Good seeing you.
How are you?
Very good, thank you, as well as good as we can be at the moment. So we know that the traditional way of what we call strategic thinking or planning is out the window. And how should a leader think at the moment? How do you think at the moment?
To be honest, I don't know. I can tell you what I'm doing. But this is, I think that I guess also for you, for all of us, that's a roller coaster. And we need to learn, but at the same time, we all need a bit of therapy here, right? What I'm doing is, I think that this is a moment where we need to learn about it's all about balancing. And strategic thinking to me, there's a lot of definition for strategy. One that I really like is a very simple one, which is strategy is the right allocation, the smart allocation of your resources, right? So where you allocate your money, your technology, your people, etc., right? So this is all about balancing. Balancing what? Balancing the short and the long term. You know, these situations where do I need to focus on the tomorrow, or do I need to focus on what's going to happen in 1 year from now? And probably it's both, and that's complicated. The second is the balancing between what I would say, not the balancing, but managing uncertainty and going beyond managing inconsistencies, because there is a lot of lack of visibility, whether you like it or not. So you need to learn how to manage these situations where there's no book, right? There is no process, there is no methodologies, there is no one saying go on the left, go on the right. So what I'm doing is trying to balance my team, and again on the short and the long term. With most of it, what I'm trying to embrace myself or with my people, friends, with you is, and to me is the skill. The big skill is how to create simplicity out of chaos, out of a complex environment. I think that's the key. Once you really get, there's from all this complexity down to a very simple problem, you are halfway there. So that's to me, and I know that I'm not answering you, but that's to me strategic thinking today. Okay,
so there are a lot of information out there. There's certainly a lot of distractions, different channels, different formats of the way we absorb information. So when you say that earlier, think simple, and traditionally that is not, simple is not really appreciated. So how do you actually digest? How do you actually manage the kind of information? Do you block it out? Should one stop reading? And what should they do in a very confused state of mind?
Yeah, we're all different. I would say that I also, again, I'm back to the balancing word, right? I think it's all about balancing the laser focus with the multitasking, right? There are people that are really laser focused on something, but there are people that they really need to multitask. I found myself that depending on the day, I'm laser focused, depending on the day, I'm multitasking everything. And I think that this situation is changing us, just changing our behavior, the way we're connecting, the way we are consuming, our relationships. So whether you are the multitasking kind of guy, the laser focused kind of guy, or in between, that would change my assessment of what you should do. I'll tell you what I do, okay? What I normally do is I read a lot, but I read shorter and shorter pieces of information, to be honest. Probably because of this environment as well, I felt, I don't know you, but I felt myself, it's becoming increasingly complicated to, attention span to read something, dense. Second, I'm reading a lot out of the industry.
Like what?
Like, so for example, I'm reading a lot about, if you think about our industry, right? If our industry, in my opinion, we're all about building communities. We're activating communities. So that means create a community, manage a community, grow a community, engage, track, monetize, right? Whether you're doing digital, face-to-face, doesn't matter. So try to read a lot on adjacent industries. So I learned a lot, for example, from sports. I'm reading a lot from sports, the way they're running the fans, they're tracking, they're managing the communities, they're activating the streaming, etc. I'm reading a lot on the startups, the way they are, the scalability of their business models, how they need to be hyper adaptable, these kind of things. I'm reading a lot about education, how the education industry is in full disruption, and others, right? And I'm learning. It's not that I'm learning. Sometimes I'm more confused than ever. It's just that I feel I'm adding other dots in my day to day, and I'm just trying to connect all of them. But I think it's a bit of kind of a refreshing.
How do you choose what to read? Do you choose it based on something that because you want to apply back in our industry, or out of curiosity, or out of boredom?
Completely out of curiosity and boredom, to be honest. Sometimes it's just sitting, watching TV, someone being interviewed, so oh, that's smart guy, interesting. Sometimes I'm, for example, listening to a lot of podcasts, what I'm doing when ironing, or where I'm doing my cycling or stuff like that, and it's, that person or she has really good, so I'm gonna buy the book, stuff like that. So it's out of curiosity. Luckily, I'm hearing something or watching something that I find interesting. So I don't have a methodology or really I'm doing this specifically. What I do, and I learned that from my CEO in the company, he mentioned to me is that stop for a couple of days and think about what should be your ideal day in terms of work, in terms of content, in time for yourself, in terms of nutrition, for example, the way you eat and these kind of things. I mean, balancing this work life, and it's also helping me. But when it comes to content, I don't follow a structural approach to anything.
You were saying that you don't have the answers because everything is still quite uncertain. One needs to be quite adaptable to whatever situation short term. Are you fearful of the unknown? Are you fearful about the future?
Yes, of course, but not about myself. If you ask Oscar, I'll tell you, not really. I would say I've been very, very lucky in my life. I was born in Barcelona, lived there for decades. Economy went really well. I'm in a good position. I'm coming from a very, very standard family, but I mean, never problem. Right? Then I moved to different countries. Like when you move out of your own country, and probably it happened to you, right? And moving here, there, you realize that when you are the different, the strange, the weird one, and you realize what the different realities out there, and how lucky we are for everything we have. We have air conditioning. I do click and I watch my Netflix, and we're so lucky. So if you think about myself, I'm not. Now, I have a family, I have kids. When you start thinking about them, I am. Because what I found myself, I remember one day we were about to start university, because I'm older than you. I thought with all my knowledge, content, people that I know, what I have been exposed, I will have all the answers. I will be able to tell them, do this, do that. And I realized that I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to study. I don't know what to do, like to be a better person or a happy person. So I'm not fearful. When I think about my kids, my family, when I think my friends, my workers, my company, yes, I am. I am, because this is changing. And I think that we're still in a big brother mode that no one understands that where this black swan is bringing us, the casualties that we're going to face. The changes in all these models will bring a lot of great opportunities, but a lot of great challenges, and no one is really having the conversation about, let's talk about the negatives. Let's talk about, the carnage that may happen here, there, but also about the good things. So my answer is yes and no.
Okay, so how do you manage the fear for the fear that you have for your family, friends, industry?
Do you think I'm an introvert or an extrovert?
I think you are whatever that you want to be at that point in time.
That's a good answer. I'm an introvert. Doesn't probably, because we know each other very well, right? And look, I'm an extrovert, and I go on a stage sometimes, and I do my thing and my slides and my bullshit, and we all laugh and da 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 da. But I'm a huge introvert. What I'm trying to say here is that I have a mask always with me. I need to be on the stage with my mask. We're now having a conversation, another mask. I'm running a company, another mask. And that's where I think that we all have a mask. I think that's what I do. But as I say, when I think about myself, no need. But in front of the others, that's what I do. And I know that's probably not the right thing to do. But this is what I've been doing for years. And now I'm too old to change it.
Masking your fear.
Masking my fear, masking my who am I, not masking in a negative sense. It's like, if I'm in front of, my whole company and I need to show fear. If I'm in front of my friends or my family, I need to show fear. But again, I think it's this kind of a mindset, culture, genetics. This is who am I. This is because of my parents, this is because of my grandfather, this is because of my culture, this is because of I'm Spanish. I don't know. That's who am I. I'm not doing it on purpose, but this is it, and that's been helping me. Sometimes not helping others, sometimes helping others. So,
we are speaking to a few people about mental fitness. When we talk mental fitness to leadership, it's really what it means to leadership, and for those who are getting to leadership, what it means to them. So what does mental fitness mean to you? And is there one positive thing that happened to you during COVID that you never thought that, oh wow, you would have experienced that?
Wow, mental fitness. Well, let's start by so what happened with me with COVID is maybe after all these months, we've been 6, 7, 8 months. I think we all, personally, I realized where are my priorities. I realized where are my friends. Those are not those are, Facebook, your birthday, happy birthday, how are you doing? No, the real ones. I realized where are these things that really excite me versus just the other things, right? I realized probably because you have a lot of times of reflection, right? And we realize what really moves you, what really excites you. It could be something very, it could be very, very standard, very normal, like you learn to cook, right?
Yes.
I learn other stuff. So you realize, that's cool actually, right? And when it comes to mental fitness in this time, what I realize is, for example, I do a lot of sport, but I don't do it because I want to be fit and these kind of things. I do it because it's my, some people do yoga, people read, but to me it's sport, but I do endurance sport. So I give you an example. With some friends over the last weekend, we did an Ironman. So in 3 days, we had to swim, to run, to swim 4 kilometers and run 42 and cycle 180. Now people think, are you stupid or what, right? And again, it's not about sport and fit. It was when I'm on a bike or I'm running for a lot of kilometers, for hours, my mind goes in, probably like when you're reading or doing yoga or you're cooking, right? I don't know if it happens to you when you're cooking, that at some point your mind goes somewhere else and you are not paying attention, but you're sitting there. I'm just, probably it helps me emptying my mind. And I think that mental fitness is all about empty your mind rather than bringing new ideas or content. and that's been helping me a lot. And of course, with the lockdown, you know, I'm traveling less. You have more time for yourself. And here in Singapore, it's great because it's you know, it's hot and humid, so but it's not cold, so you can do a lot of stuff when it comes to sports.
And it's very accessible.
Indeed. So that's for me mental fitness. Apart from, as I said, I read a lot and spend time a lot with my. I'm living here, for example, with my son now. So I got divorced a year and a half ago, and that was before COVID. And that was, of course, there's a very stressful moment in your life. My ex-wife with my son and my daughter came back to Spain. I'm here with my other son. There's a big change in your life, but spending time with your son, like I'm doing it also changes your life because it's you see yourself evolving. I mean, and my son is 21 years old, so you have, you know, grown-ups conversations as well. So I'm learning every day, to be honest, and it's not fear, but I feel sometimes I don't know if it's happened to you. It's a roller coaster, as I say. Some days I'm full of energy. I'm super, you know, like.
Yes.
And there are some days that are. Where are we going with this?
Yeah.
When this is gonna end?
And what do you do to yourself on those days? Do you just like do nothing?
The days I'm down?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think that I try to get a bit of discipline. So of course I have a job and I have to do it, and sometimes it helps you a bit to get back to the, you know, okay, let's move on. Then on those days something happened. There always something happened. Whether it's you know, you're watching a film and say, oh, that's a really nice film, a chapter in a book, which is a really nice book. I give you an example. Today, this morning, it was one of those mornings that I felt draining out of energy, and I had a coffee with my friend Women at the MBS. We had actually a nice conversation there, like friend to friend, and that, you know, wake me up a little bit. And we came to a place. And by the way, you cook really well. I mean, you're a really good cook. You should start cooking and leave all the other stuff. And I don't know. I think things happen. Yeah. I think that we're obsessed about trying to things that may happen. Things happen for, I don't know if for a reason or not. So I let it go.
Yeah. Thank you. One of the things that I wanted to tell you, you know, when we have conversations like this, even like throughout the years, I try to take something away with me, with whatever you say, right? And whatever I believe to be truth at that moment in time, at face value. The one thing that got me to cooking is the fact that you many years ago told me, just do things, just do little things, because it builds up, see where it leads to. So that's how I started picking up cooking, because I just thought, oh well, you know, I moved to a new place, it's very convenient for me to get groceries and whatever. Correct. And I just started doing little things, and I didn't really had a plan of I'm gonna be Master Chef Singapore. Yeah. But more so I did it for my pleasure. And you're right, in the moment of cooking, you forget about
correct
whether your phone is ringing or somebody, or the next email that you have to catch, or anything like that. You are just, it really taught me patience and focus.
But I think, don't you think that our thing is our society, and I don't know, maybe it's Hollywood, maybe it's Netflix, maybe it's all, you know, the bookshelves, you know, the bookstores, or leadership, and it's like, it looks like we all need to have a plan. We all need to have clarity on where we need to be in 5 years from now. And probably it's genetics or culture, I don't know. But since I was very little, I never planned for anything. I never planned to come here to Singapore, never ever in my life. I never planned to live in Brazil where I did. I never planned to even work in this industry. But things happen. And I don't know if I give you the good advice or not, but I think that if you start doing a few things, if you are fair, good with people, have nice friends, I think things will happen. And I think that we're adding a lot of pressure to ourselves when it comes to, you should have a master plan of your life. Yeah. What if you're happy cooking? And that's, you don't need to run a big company, and you don't need to be a leader. What leadership means exactly, right? So I think, look, you're happy, right? So
I'm very happy, and I think just taking on, like, just getting some of the key points that you mentioned throughout our conversation. I think knowing who we are is very important, and what we represent. And I think we just have to, if we are happy running a big company, great. if we are happy doing nothing, great. I think we just need to be present.
Absolutely.
To get ready for whatever that might come next.
Correct. I mean, even in the language, whoever is running a big company, okay. And whoever is running a very small company, okay, right? And if you have 3 hobbies, it's also okay. I think that this COVID has helping us in a way to reckon all this kind of maybe everything is okay.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy and as long as you're not hurting the others, do whatever you want, right? What I don't know how you feel, but I try to avoid those people giving advice. You know, I'm gonna give you an advice. You should do this. You should do that. I have this reaction. I mentioned to you while we were having lunch that I'm a skeptic nature, and naturally I'm a skeptic. I became a bit cynic, which is negative. Cynic in the sense of who are you to give me a tip and advice? You don't know nothing about me, right? And but I feel that the world has this idea on you need to run a big company. You know, you need to be a man and make money and have a nice car and a nice watch and this and get respect. What do I live? Well, leave me alone. I want to cook or when I read. I want to run a coffee shop. It's okay. It's good.
Yeah. Perhaps COVID broke the illusion of what it should be instead of what you want to be. So,
well, COVID, but of course, COVID has a positive impact. Of course, a lot of negative impacts, but the positive impact. So this probably never in our lives will have such a moment of a period where we can do reflection on ourselves, what we want to do, we want to be, the world in general. And we've done a lot of therapy probably on our own. And that's to me kind of positive.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for your time, Oscar. Always good seeing you.
Big pleasure.